Former
Sure.
Commander John Chell, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
This is a quote you have from him. This team really changed the game. Did we make mistakes? Sure. But we stabilized the city. We did our job.
Yeah. Yeah.
When was New York City destabilized and in chaos that they needed a special unit made up of guys with a confirmed history of being abusive and misconduct to make it right? And to make it right, and let's talk, people need to know this, they're not chasing murderers. They weren't going after the most violent people in the city. They were going, I mean, according to your article, and you can clear this up, that like you said, the motorcycles, they were going a lot of like quality of life stuff.
Yeah. Quality of life stuff. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, so here's the pattern, and I think probably your listeners are very familiar with it. Pattern of crime over time in New York City. Yeah, it was really high in the 70s and 80s, enormous. I think it peaked at about 2,000 killings a year, something like that. And whatever the reasons, it started falling precipitously in the mid 90s. And it's really kept going down, down, down. It's now at record lows. So there was a bump, during or after, at the end of COVID. But like, yeah, it's at the end of a COVID when you have this massive societal, rupture that happened. And then it just started going back down again. I don't think there's any evidence that this unit had anything to do with that. I think you were saying a minute ago that somebody benefits, um, uh, when there are cops going rogue. And I think in this instance, at least in a narrow way, the mayor benefited. He got officers who were jacked up and raring to go, focusing on his pet issues. It was motorbikes. When students protested about Gaza in Colombia, the unit that climbed a ladder and went in through the windows to get at them was the CRT. When he didn't like smoke shops, he sent these guys after it. And by the way, in many of these cases, the unit made what I think you call sizzle reels, highlight films, pumping up their work. And so, it was frankly, a kind of propaganda tool by the mayor.
It reminds me a lot of how Trump is using ICE and the federal troops he sends into the cities. The federal troops in DC early on had the Metro Police, that because the Metro runs between the district and two states, they have a separate police department that they all pay for. Arrest someone and beat up a kid that jumped the turnstile, and then an activist showed up and they arrested the head activist, and it all blew up. In the Metropolitan Police Department, the head of that district, when they brought this very well-known activist to the department, the head of it was ready and told the cops immediately, release them. Release her, I believe it was her. Release that person now. They didn't do anything. Out. They go out. Don't even bring them in the station. Take the cuffs off. Get rid. I don't care what those federal cops told you, but this just reminded me of, it was like almost a little private army that Eric Adams had.
It was a unit that he could just send out wherever he wanted it to go. And the other thing is, and I do think this has a similarity with ICE, which is that it's not so much necessarily about getting things done as the theater of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the theater of it is in the case of the NYPD, it sends a message that they are on top of crime, regardless of whether the then administration was or not. It sends a message that you know Mayor Adams is getting things done and is tough. And with ICE, they are also looking to send a message. So yeah, I see that.
Yeah, it is a lot of theater, unfortunately, and people are paying the price. Both people in you look locally in New York, the people in those communities, the guy who got cut off and now is dead, those people are paying the price, and then regular officers in these districts where these guys have screwed up are also paying the price, and no one seems to care. And Eric's gone, and not Mr. Adams is gone. He doesn't have to deal with any of the repercussions outside of losing an election. He's scot free for all of this.